When I almost died, I don't remember my life flashing before my eyes. I don't remember regret. I don't remember nostalgia. What I remember is panic, pure animal panic, and being 100% focused on one thing, not drowning. That moment taught me something I didn't revisit until decades later, when I was drowning again. Not in water, in alcohol. And the second time almost killed me as surely as the first. My first attempt at surfing was in Hawaii. Big waves, big confidence, bad judgment. The ocean didn't care. One wave took my board and sent it floating calmly toward shore while it left me stranded a couple hundred yards out. Exhausted and pummeled. Losing strength fast. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't just struggling, I was drowning. I was alone except for one teenage surfer who gave me a very annoyed look. I think he knew I was about to ask for help. I don't think he knew how close I was to going under. He let me grab his board for maybe 30 seconds, and then when the next wave came, he said, "Are you good?" and he paddled away. Well, I wasn't good, but those 30 seconds mattered. They gave me just enough clarity to orient myself, to see where I needed to go. So I half swam and mostly treaded water, hoping to touch something solid beneath. Minutes passed and my strength faded. And then my toes hit something solid, a coral ledge. Sharp, jagged, painful. Didn't matter. I curled my feet around it and held on for dear life. Those few moments were enough to gather some strength for one last push. Soon I dragged myself onto the shore with bloody feet, but alive. 20 years later, I was drowning again. This time, the fluid was alcohol. Instead of a wave, it was a tsunami of consequences. Damage to my career, relationships, self-respect, health. Everything I told myself I was handling came crashing down. I was circling the drain. That was 28 years ago, and that's when the second rescue of my life happened. I first latched on to treatment to prevent going under. Abstinence was forced on me. Structure was imposed. For the first time, I got a glimpse of life without alcohol, and that mattered. But here's the hard truth newcomers need to hear. Treatment is a life preserver and not the shore. It buys you time, it stabilizes the crisis, but it's not the solution. When I left treatment, the energy I gained drained fast, very fast. Once again, I was just trying to keep my head above water, and I knew, with certainty, that if I didn't find solid footing soon, I would go under, which meant drinking again and losing everything. Up to that point, I was doing what most people do in early sobriety. I was resisting, white-knuckling, holding my breath, treading water. Resistance feels productive, but it's limited. You can't resist forever. I knew something had to change, not my effort, but my direction. That's when the sharp, jagged questions began. Floating there, wanting desperately to drink, one question became unavoidable. Why? Why, knowing what alcohol already had taken from me, would I still want it? That led to a more penetrating question. What do I think alcohol is giving me? What benefit am I so convinced it provides that I'm willing to risk my life to keep it? Those questions hurt, like standing on a coral ledge, sharp, painful, unavoidable. But they did something resistance never could. They redirected the fight. As I began answering those questions honestly, something shifted. My days were no longer consumed by frantic effort to not drink. Sobriety started becoming the default. Not easy, but stable. This is what I call functional sobriety. It's a plateau, a ledge. You can live your life, you can work, you can function, and you have some energy left over. And for a while, that's enough. But here's the danger. Stability is not freedom. Functional sobriety keeps you safe, but stationary. You're not drowning anymore, but you're not moving forward either. And over time, that stagnation becomes dangerous. Because the same life problems are still there, but now without the numbing agent you used to survive them. That's where many people relapse. Not because they want chaos, but because they want relief. At some point, I realized that I had a choice. Stay safe and stagnate, or move forward. So I left the ledge. I started swimming toward shore. That shore represented something I couldn't fully define yet, but I knew what it wasn't. It wasn't a life run by alcohol. It wasn't a life managed by fear. And I noticed something important. I moved closer to shore when I worked on the skills required for an authentic life. Honest relationships, emotional regulation, finding a purpose, tolerance for discomfort, and many others. I've now watched thousands of people get sober, and the ones who stay sober almost always tell some version of the same story. A collapse, a rescue that buys some time, and then a turning point. And at that turning point, they either find a ledge that becomes the springboard to building a new life, or they tread water until exhaustion wins. If you're new to sobriety, I'm not telling you this so that you can copy my path. Your journey will be different. But maybe you'll recognize the shape of it, and maybe that recognition will help you see what comes next. When I first quit drinking, I thought alcohol was the problem. It wasn't. Alcohol was my solution. It was my solution to anxiety, to fear, to confusion, to a life I didn't know how to live without chemicals. To live, I had to find a new solution, and stopping drinking was just the beginning. Only after I stopped could I see what alcohol had been doing for me, and why I needed new tools to replace that. If you can see now that your drinking has become a problem, don't run from that realization. You're not standing on a cliff. You're standing in a doorway. Giving up alcohol doesn't mean giving up anything real. It means opening the door to the life you deserve. I'm Dr. Donald Crowe, and this is Second Act Sobriety. This channel exists to help otherwise successful people succeed at building new lives free from drugs and alcohol. Please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and give us a like. And comment below. It genuinely helps the channel grow. And check out this next video, where I break down the trap of functional alcoholism in more detail. I'll see you in the next one.